basil, and chive in it. It's all right, but it's not particularly tasteful or delicious. But it's really hard to stop eating it. There's something about it. It's just nice to eat.
What's been the best? We're live, by the way. What's been the best bread your sister has made?
Well, it's the first one I've made. No, sorry, I've had.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking about favorite breads, I'm a big bread connoisseur. I love bread. Honestly, I could eat bread all day. I do like a good garlic and parsley flatbread.
Oh yeah, okay. With all the like buttery kind of topping.
Yeah, man. Dead keen.
I like a focaccia.
Oh yeah.
Which you'll be able to have loads of next week.
Yeah, boy.
If we're going wider, I like a cheese naan. Is a delicious mix that shouldn't work. Like somebody at some point was like, I'm really enjoying this delicious curry, but it could do with some cheese on it.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I always order cheese naan when I have an Indian, but like I always feel disappointed by it. Yeah, I still keep going back for more.
It's just because it tastes so different, isn't it? Like it's such a cheap melted cheese is so good anyway.
Yeah.
But like when you're having a curry and it's like hot, vegetable, fruity, spicy, vibrant, and then you're like, actually, I just want to eat what is basically just like a cheese toasty.
Cheese toasty, yeah. But it looks a bit prettier.
And how often? I'm curious about this. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But how often, like a month, do you and Shona have takeaway?
Probably. I mean, Shona's on the old Slimming World now.
Oh yeah, cool.
So before then, we'd probably have it once a month. Not very often.
Okay.
Since we've moved in together, which was about 3 years ago, we've been pretty good at normally like making our own dinners. It's only normally on the weekend we really can't be bothered that we'll have we had takeaways, and it'd either be like Pizza Hut or an Indian from down the road.
You never go for Chinese?
I'm not a fan of Chinese. Never have been. I think Chinese is disappointing and always not as nice as you think. Soggy and just not very pleasant.
Well, you're listening to Heroes of Handheld, episode 254, the internet's premium handheld gaming podcast dedicated to all things handheld, whether that be Switch, iOS, mobile app, Android, Vita, 3DS, or much, much more. My name is Chris. I'm joined by the man who thinks Chinese food is, as a rule, too soggy, in Colin Byrne. Hi, Colin.
Hey, you're right.
We're recording on a weird day today, so there's less news than normal. There's some quite interesting stories, some kind of semi-relevant stuff. Colin, let's start off. What have you been playing this week?
I'm going to be brutally honest, and I've not played anything new. I've just been playing the old favourites, such as Pokemon Go. And I mentioned this game last week. You know, I don't know if you're the same, but there are games or apps you download on your phone, on your mobile device. You download it, you play it for about a week or so, then you delete it and you forget about it. But there's the odd one game. There's the pearl in all the crap. There's the odd shining beacon, the game that stays on your phone for a very long time. Even if you don't play it for weeks and weeks and weeks, you still have it on the phone because you think to yourself, I'm going to come back to that game at some point and I'm going to play it. And I've mentioned this game so many times before. It's the game Kami 2, which is from a developer called State of Play, which is a puzzle game where it's like an origami. It's beautiful game. It's like an origami world, and the puzzle element is you have to try and get all the tiles the same color in a set amount of moves, which isn't particularly a new concept. This has been a concept for a long time, but it's just the way it's done. The music's really nice and soothing. It's relaxing, and even though it's quite challenging, you never feel frustrated because it's just a pleasure to be playing. Kami 2, I've just been playing more of that. I've probably had it on my phone. It must be coming up to about a year now. And I'll go months and months without playing it, but I always know I'm going to come back to it at some point. There's challenges in it. The main, I say story mode, but the main campaign where there's different levels is called the journey mode, which is what I'm doing. I mean, it even tells you how far through the journey you are. I'm only a quarter of the way through the levels, which shows, just how much content there is. It's so good. It's free, but you can pay to remove ads if you want to. But I've never found the ads intrusive at all, to be honest with you. Like the ads will appear, once every now and then once you've done a level. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing this week, and it's it's really sad because I've not played my Switch in a very long time. It is gathering dust at the moment. I need some. I downloaded Tetris for it months ago, and I've still not played that. I need to get into it. I need to get back onto it. I need to get. There needs to be some game, some release that's going to pull me back in and get me playing it. Because by now, my subscription to Switch, Nintendo Online would have expired. So I need to buy that again. So really, I'm looking for a single-player campaign experience where I don't need to play online. What could it be?
Well, if we had stuck to our original podcast schedule, then I would be able to give you a review of a new game called Masquerader Songs and Shadows. But because we're doing this a day early, the embargo is tomorrow. Colin, you're going to have to wait till next week to hear about whether that could be the game that sates your quenches your thirst and sates your interest on the Switch. The mobile, you talking about mobile games, the one for me that I will just always go back to is 1010, which is the puzzle grid game, where you get different shape. In case you've not heard me talk about it on a podcast, it's a 10 by 10 grid. You get different shapes, like 3 different shapes at a time, and you have to place them all in the grid before you can move on to the next set of shapes. And if you complete a column or a row, then that row or column disappears. So that means you can then put more pieces in. It's not a million miles away from Tetris, except without the gravity element and kind of like top down rather than side on falling thing. And 1010 is just the game that I will like. I went with friends on a weekend into central London, and I'm just conditioned so that as soon as I was on the tube, I was playing 1010 on my phone. Like people were right there, like I could talk to, and I was just playing this game on my phone because I play it so much on the tube. I'm just like conditioned to just bust out a couple of rounds on there. So that's one for me. The only other thing I've been did I tell you? I can't remember if I told you this or not, Colin. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you that I finished Red Dead Redemption 2?
You have not. You've not really spoken about that, to be honest. How have you found it?
Yeah, I played it. I burnt very hot on it when it came out, and then I took a wee while off. Then I came back to it a month or so ago because I wanted to finish it to get some space up on my PlayStation. I would say I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't think it's a very similar game to the first one. It's much more methodical. It's much more of like a kind of role play. It's almost like, because certain things are so slow and take so much time to do, it's almost like more of an art than a game, if that makes any sort of sense. I think that's really interesting, but it is also quite frustrating.
No, I do actually remember you talking about this initially when it came out, and you weren't overly enthused about it.
Yeah, it's because like parts of it are really, really good fun, and like, you know, you get into like a shootout, and obviously like you want to be a cowboy, so you want to ride through the wilderness on your back of the horse, on a horse with no name, whilst like guitar music plays, and you feel, you know, like a frontiersman. But then also there's like, make sure you have enough prime steak in your satchel, because else you're not going to be able to see it, and stuff like that. It was just like, so I finished that, and you know, I enjoyed it, and I finished the epilogue as well. As I sort of wanted to see it all the way through. The epilogue is in 2 parts, and I won't spoil what happens in the epilogue, but I will say that I think for me, the epilogue is a much stronger experience because you have a much more focused like achievement, like a thing to do. You're very much working towards one thing, and the story is a lot stronger. And I think if you've played Red Dead Redemption 2 to the point where you finish the game, the main story, and you're not then playing the epilogue, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because I think like it really wraps up like I'll tell you about it afterwards, Colin, when we're off air. But it really wraps up like what is so good about these games. So yeah, I've been playing that, but nothing really apart from that. But Colin, that doesn't matter, because I want to quickly tell you some news, and then we've got a little talkie point to do.
Yes,
the quick bit of news is that Capcom have tweeted that Devil May Cry is going to be coming to the Switch in summer. The original adventure that introduced Dante to the world is going to be coming to Switch this summer. That's all they've said in their tweet. There's nothing about, you know, price or release or anything like that. However, Polygon have done a really, really nice write-up about it, including kind of comparing it to other previous price points for Capcom games, and talking about why just the first one's coming out. So we'll embed that on heroeshandheld.wordpress.com because you should read that. However, this is quite interesting because there was a thing a wee while ago where I can't quite remember where it came from. I think it was yes, here we go. The boss from one of the Devil May Cry high ups said, "We would love to have Dante in Smash Bros, but he would have to appear on the Switch first." So could this be a lead into Dante on Smash Bros? Because Colin, if Dante did come to Smash Bros, that would mean that Dante is the first character to cross over from PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale into Smash Bros, which is pretty mad, really, when you think about it.
That is pretty mad.
No one, as far as I can remember, because there's not many third-party characters at all in Smash and All Stars even, and I don't think any of them. No, I don't think any of them are in Smash Bros. So that would be huge. But yeah, pretty exciting. I like that Capcom, they did it with Okami, Resident Evil as well. I like that Capcom are bringing stuff across the Switch. I like that I'm a fan of the fact they're releasing kind of individual games rather than you having to buy like a set of all three for £50 or whatever. It'll be interesting to see how much this is priced because obviously it's a game that came out a long time ago. But yeah, quite exciting. I quite like Devil May Cry. If you've not played them before, it's based on the very, very loosely based on the what's it called? What's the heaven and hell story for the layers of hell? The Dante's Inferno poem. It's got like another name, hasn't it?
Why are you asking me? I ain't got a bloody clue.
Anyway, so it's very loosely based on that because you play as Dante and you have to defeat demons to stop them from invading the earth and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the Divine Comedy, that's what the poem is called. And yeah, it's like a kind of action. I'd say it plays like old God of War games, but with guns. I think that's probably a fair assessment of it. It's a good kind of hack and slash. Actually, Colin, it might be up your street when it comes out if you're looking for a good single player Switch game. Although it is obviously over a decade old. But yeah, quite exciting.
Beautiful.
Looking forward to that. Colin, what drew your BDI this week?
What drew my BDI is the fact that the memeing and the negativity online worked, guys, because we're getting a reworking of Sonic the Hedgehog. Whoa! How exciting is that? Are you excited for that?
I feel weird about it.
Do you think it was a marketing ploy? Do you reckon they knew that Sonic was terrible? And because the design is pretty poor. I know there's all the hate, and it's cool to hate on Sonic the Hedgehog trailer, but forgetting all that, the design of Sonic was pretty shit. To be honest, it wasn't great.
I just feel bad for the animators because the people who have been working the design of Sonic, the people who came up with the design of Sonic aren't the same people who have had to animate every frame of that film that Sonic is in. Yeah. And now they're going to have to redo loads of stuff. I hope it gets delayed or something because it doesn't seem fair that it's oh yeah, there's a couple months to go. We need you to redo everything. Cheers. But
it does.
I'm glad that people are getting the Sonic that they deserve, I suppose.
It does seem like maybe it was a higher up decision, the initial design of Sonic. Sure, obviously we don't know the ins and outs of what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog and the initial designing for the film. But, I remember when we got that first little teaser image and it was like a silhouette and it was leaked and people were like, oh no, that can't be real. That must be fake. And it turned out it was real. But you got to wonder who. I think there's rumors online. Obviously, this is just rumors online, and take it with a pinch of salt. But the rumors that Sega, who are obviously heavily involved with this film, weren't happy with the initial design of Sonic and how we see Sonic in the trailer. But then they were sort of their issues and their concerns were sort of dismissed by the studio releasing the film. Don't know if that's true.
But someone must have Sega, surely, right? If how Nintendo, how there's a Super Mario film coming out from Illumination. Surely, Surely, someone at Nintendo, whenever Mario gets designed by that team, someone at Nintendo must look at the design and be like, yeah, that's fine, that suits us, or yeah, that's mostly
But
fine, but
then
you need to change like his eye color or
I'm
whatever.
imagining Illumination is going to be fully animated, isn't it? It's not going to be live action and animation.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think, though it's questionable whether the Illuminations films are actually very good in terms of their storytelling and, whether they're just really annoying. But there's no denying that the animation in those films is really good. There is a high level of polish in the Illumination films. With the characters they create, like the recent Grinch film and the Minions and Despicable Me and the Secret Life of Pets. Was that one of theirs?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Was that Blue Sky? No, was that Illumination? Yeah, it
yeah,
was.
I'm sure
Okay.
it is.
I don't know because Blue Sky is the one that does Ice Age. I don't know. But yeah, I'd actually feel safer if it was like a fully animated thing. That would seem to make more sense than making it like. I just can't help but think this Sonic film is going to be very similar to the Smurfs animated, film that came out, and that was pretty terrible. Admittedly, I've not watched them all. I watched a bit of one of them, and I never really liked the Smurfs, to be honest with you. So I'm obviously not the target demographic, but Sonic is definitely. I am the target for Sonic because I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I've always loved the games. So I'm interested to see what they come up with. But as we alluded to, you have to feel sorry for the animators because they've got to start from scratch, and the film's coming out in November, which isn't that long, really.
Yeah, I really hope it gets delayed. I don't want. It just really doesn't sit easy with me, the idea of like them having to change everything.
Yeah, you do think like if there is delays, then you do wonder whether it'll ever see the light of day. It's a bit like that I think it's Marvel, that what's it called? The New Mutants film.
Yeah,
That's been delayed to hell.
Yeah, that was Fox, wasn't it? And then it now is, I guess, run by who knows. But
yeah, don't know if that's ever going to see the light of day either. So we wait and see. Anyway, but it was just in a memey and dank meme sort of way. It was actually quite funny to see like them going back on everything just because of all the memes and all the hate online. I'm very surprised. I actually was surprised that they are going back on it, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Anyway, let's talk about some brief news, and then we can close the book on this story. I just wanted to talk about this. This was quite a cool story. The fact that Microsoft Solitaire has been inducted into the World Video Games Hall of Fame. So yes, if you didn't know, there is a World Video Game Hall of Fame, and games that are already in the Hall of Fame for video games are Doom, Tetris, Pokemon, and The Legend of Zelda, to name a few. So they are now adding in Solitaire, and this is specifically the Microsoft version. So back in the day when you had dial-up internet, had nothing to do on your PC, you'd load up your parents' computer or laptop and you'd open up these games and you have a great time. And Solitaire was the main game that people played. Now, I played Solitaire, as most people did, but I don't know whether I'm alone in this, but I honestly had no idea what I was doing when playing Solitaire. I didn't really know how it worked. I just thought it was quite cool how the image in the top left, the deck of cards, as it were, at the top, the image of that would change each time.
Yeah.
I used to really enjoy that. But I never really knew whether I was doing it right, and I've never bothered to research since. Am I right in thinking that with Solitaire, the whole point is you got to get all the cards in a line in order, and you got to use all the cards and put them in the correct order or something like that?
It depends, Colin, if you're playing traditional or easy version, because in the easy version, there's no suits involved, and you just have to stack them from king all the way down to 2, or from to ace. But on the normal version, it has to go black, red, black, red, black, red. But someone told me that the initial idea with Microsoft Solitaire is it was designed to teach you that you can click and drag on the mouse, because you had to click and drag cards across.
I heard that as well. Yeah, it's just a way of teaching you how to use a PC. So interesting, so cool. There's an image here on this article from The Verge, where with Solitaire running on Windows 3.0. Oh boy, does it look old! And there's like a little pack, a Microsoft mouse. So cool. So it's interesting. I mean, this brings up the discussion about the different games, the free games that were on PC that you could play. I mean, the two games like spring to my mind automatically is obviously Solitaire, but the other one is the pinball game.
Yeah, Space Cadet Pinball.
That was great. And what was good about that? It looked great. It was fun, and the sound effects were amazing as well. in that one. Just so Minesweeper. How can we forget Minesweeper? That was another favorite. Once again, another game I never really understood what I was doing, but it was oddly therapeutic and quite fun to just like click random spaces and hope you because you get those ones where if you click to space and there's loads of empty blocks around it, you open up loads and you like fill up half the game board and you always complete it. Good times. So yeah, I'm just reading to see if there's a list of other games that are in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it says it was first bundled with Windows 3.0, and it's appeared in every subsequent version of the software up until Windows 8.1. It was removed from the base level operating system, but was returned in Windows 10 after Microsoft admitted that Solitaire, along with Minesweeper and Hearts, still have devoted followings. Hearts. Now, what was Hearts?
Hearts is a multiplayer game where you have to get rid of all the hearts in your hand. If you might have played it, sometimes it's called Shoot the Moon.
Okay.
Anyway, just to say as well, on here is fanhandle.wordpress.com. We've embedded a really nice link to a Microsoft blog post from Will Tuttle, the Xbox Wire, editor-in-chief, who's written a really nice post about this game being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Excuse me, I've got hiccups coming on. I always used to play. So we had a computer at home, but it was mainly for work. So when I was younger, most of my computer kind of game playing was at school because my mum was a teacher at the school, so we used to have to go in early. So I would quite often sit in the IT lab and play the games on the computer. And we had one called Granny's Garden. Did you ever play Granny's Garden?
Granny's Garden. I'm going to have a quick Google of this.
There's Granny's Garden, and the other good one was Zombinis, which was like a deduction game.
Oh my god, Granny's Garden seems really creepy.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
But Zombinis was good because it was like a game teaching you all about like deductive reasoning and like elimination and stuff. And it was basically a maths game, but that was very, very strong. So yeah, those are the ones that I really remember playing on that era of PC, although they weren't free. And obviously, Space Cadet Pinball was very good, but very, very difficult. Like I found it personally very difficult because there was all these extra missions and stuff, and I could just never like grasp how you're meant to be that good at aiming the ball.
Wow. Yeah. This does look familiar. We must have mentioned this before on the show because that image of the witch in Granny's Garden is going to give me nightmares.
Yeah, I'm sure I will have mentioned it before.
Haha, now I've got you. I will send you home at once. Ugh, that's oddly creepy. Just going back to the article very quickly. Other games in the Hall of Fame are World of Warcraft and Halo Combat Evolved. So all the big hitters in there. But yeah, it just takes you back to the good old days where playing on a PC was all about opening up Solitaire and trying to pretend you knew what you were doing. Let me just a last bit of this article here. Because of its inclusion in the world's most popular PC operating system, Lonely Solitaire has likely been installed on more than 1 billion devices.
Oh my god.
Making it one of the most popular video games of all time. Microsoft Solitaire demonstrated that there existed a vast market of games that appeal to people of all types, paving the way for the growth of the casual game market. That's the Institute. The company or the organization that do this Hall of Fame is called the Strong Museum, and that was a statement from them. And Microsoft's Paul Jensen, studio manager for Microsoft Casual Games, because that is a job title apparently, he said, "We are humbly honored to have had the opportunity to work on a game that had such a broad appeal, is localized into 65 languages, and played in over 200 markets around the world, including Antarctica." So there you go. So well done, Solitaire. You have done well. You have done well. I'm just going to quickly Google Microsoft free games on PC old. There's a list. Let's see. Sliver.io. I remember that one. Let's see if there's any lists of them. I put like Minesweeper because there was a load of them, but most of them people didn't play. Because they're just like. Here's another thing. Actually, this has reminded me of. Did you ever have Sky growing up?
No, but I played that platforming one around a friend's house a bunch.
Well, the reason I bring it up, as you probably know what I'm alluding to, is if you had Sky, they used to have an online interactive service called Open, and it changed
Right.
into Sky Active. And one of the awesome things of it is you could play games. You could pay for some, but there were games that were free. And one of the most famous ones is one called Beehive Bedlam.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Oh my god, spent hours playing that, and it came up on Reddit actually recently, where it was on like nostalgia, and it came up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I never realised, like, 'cause I never spoke to anyone else who ever mentioned it. Like, it was actually quite a big deal for a lot of people, a lot of kids growing up back when Sky was in its infancy. I'm just trying to think of the other games that are on there. There was a Battleships game that I played quite a lot. And there was also like a mole game as well. It was themed around moles, like the animal, but then I think it was just like a noughts and crosses style game. But it's just the music, and if we can find a video for it, I'll put a video of Beehive Bedlam in the article for this week's podcast, because honestly, there were some great games on there, and you had to control it using your TV remote controller. I remember the batteries always used to run out really quick, and my parents just being, "What the hell? Why is the battery
Where's all the
run so
batteries
quick?
gone?
What's going on?" But yeah, simple times, and also a good thing with Sky as well, which I used to love, is on the menus. Like, it used to have really relaxing music as well. Like the Sky menu music used to be so good, so relaxing. But now you don't get it, because if you've got Sky, there's always a TV channel playing in the top right-hand corner. So the channel you're on, when you go to the TV guide, it still plays in a little box. So now they don't need the menu music anymore, which I think is a darn shame. A darn shame.
I was thinking, do you remember? Did you ever used to do the Bamboozle quiz on CFAX?
I've never really used CFAX, you know.
Or it was either CFAX or Teletext.
Bamboozle quiz, was it?
It was called it was called like Bamboozle or the Bamboozler, something like that. And it was this stupid quiz.
The classic teletext quiz.
Yeah. So if for those, by the way, this is not handheld gaming stuff. I mean, I feel like we've ended and we've just kind of dribbled into like nostalgia, but that's fine with me.
It's fine. Yeah.
The Bamboozle quiz was a multiple choice quiz made by this kind of because on CFAX you couldn't draw stuff; it was all like pixel art. So it was like this pixelated quiz character called the Bamboozler, and you had to use the red, yellow, blue, and I guess green buttons on your controller to pick options, which would then shortcut you to different pages on teletext. But Colin, here was the thing that young Chris worked out, and then was always very good at Bamboozle, was that when you pressed a one of the buttons, it would take you to, it would show in the top corner kind of like the address of the new page you were going to, like the numbered page. So all you had to do was press all of them, and then whichever one was different to the others, that was the answer you stuck with, because the others were all taking you to the "that's wrong, try again" page.
Oh my god, this sounds great.
I would love it to come back on like a mobile app, like HQ Trivia vibes.
Chris, apparently Bamboozle, the classic teletext quiz, is available on the App Store.
No way! That's literally just what I said I wanted.
I've just seen I've googled it and it's there, but I've looked on my phone. I can't find it. Why is that? Is it only for iPad? Let's have a look.
Bamboozle.
It's definitely there. Bamboozle, the classic teletext quiz game from DMG Media. I can't find it on mobile for some reason.
Maybe it's not on anymore. Maybe they had to get rid of it or something.
Yeah, there's no option to download it actually. Version 2.6. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the last reviews were in 2012. It's 99p. When was the last update? It doesn't say. Maybe it's just on iPad. Well, that'd be a shame. Yeah, because it's weird. Like when you go to search it on the App Store, you know, when it comes up with suggestions, it's there, but then when you click that suggestion, it says no results. So maybe it was taken down. Oh, that's a shame. Bamboozle quiz. Yeah, there's a few different quiz games called Bamboozle, but not this one. Well, that's a shame. That's definitely it though, isn't it? Have you seen the?
Yeah, that's definitely the familiar face. I just need to work out how to play it.
I'm gonna see if you can get Beehive Bedlam anywhere. Beehive Bedlam. You can still play Beehive Bedlam online, but is there an app? Because they're missing a trick if they don't release that. Oh, there's no app for it. That's so. Oh no, it's on the Google Play Store. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, Beehive Bedlam. Just looking at the home screen, It wasn't even particularly a great game. It was a very basic concept, but it was just so darn addictive. Sky Open games. I'm going to find some more games from Sky Open, and then we can move on. I've searched Sky Open games. It's come up with No Man's Sky. I don't think it's understanding what I'm saying here. Do you remember that they did an update for No Man's Sky recently, didn't they?
Yeah, people are really into it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much all we've got for you. Which you're right, we're going down a nostalgic path that we're going to struggle to get out of. So we should probably wrap up and move along. And I should try and play a game this week. Because I'm going abroad next week, I don't know if to take my Switch. I probably won't take my Switch, actually, thinking about it. But that plane ride, that plane journey will probably give me a good excuse to play something new.
Yeah, that's perfect. Short game length, isn't it? Well, I'll be back next week on probably Wednesday. So do stay glued to your podcast supply device for that. But Colin, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you have a lovely time next week.
Thank you very much.
If you want any top tips, I would say don't accept anything people are giving to you for free on the street. Just like drop it and walk away, because people are very forceful and then will harass you.
Yeah.
And don't take any photos with anyone because like people who are dressed up, they'll be like, I'll have a photo, then they'll harass you for a tip and they're not official. Also, a lot of people in that city, we saw a couple of people pretending to be policemen who would then attempt to take your money. So just be on the lookout for fake police officers and have a great time.
Thank you. I don't get stabbed. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, you won't, that won't happen. You'll be fine. And you're into your cats, aren't you?
Oh, I've heard about this cat place.
Yeah, go to the cat place. You'll love it.
It's a shame that my partner hates cats. Maybe I'll take her.
Oh yeah, she's more of a dog person, isn't she?
Yeah. What's the name of this cat place? Actually, we'll talk off that.
Yeah, we'll talk off that. Okay, well, this has been Heroes of Handheld. If you want to get in touch with us at Handheld Podcast on Twitter, you can write to us, heroesofhandheld@gmail.com, and also go to our website, heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, where you can listen to old episodes and read all the links and see where we get our news from, because we cite our sources. Colin, see you in 2 weeks. Everyone else, see you in a week. Happy Heroes Day.